Hello, Greater Bay Area small business owners. Welcome to the hashtag Bay Area Small Biz Strong episode of Small Business by the Bay. We have all sorts of resources packed into this episode, but we also have a special announcement about our Small Biz Strong program coming to a city near you. So get ready, let's go. It's time to make owning and running your small business a whole lot easier. From Marin to Monterey, I travel the Greater Bay Area each week to bring you news, trends, tech, resources, and interviews that will help transform your business. The Bay Area Small Business Doctor is in. All right, welcome to the hashtag Bay Area Small Biz Strong episode of Small Business by the Bay. As usual, we're going to pack it full of all sorts of resources to empower you as a business owner here in the Monterey and San Francisco Bay Area region. So get ready. We're kicking things off with the announcement of our first program that we're basically launching it this month. It's our coffee program. Haven't figured out the snazzy name for it just yet. But basically, I'm going to select a coffee shop somewhere throughout the Bay Area, and I'm going to give them a bunch of cash and say the first 20 small business owners that walk through the door, coffee is going to be on me. So it's all meant to support local business and fire up some of those business owners to take on the day and go big. So stay tuned. Next week is when we're going to announce the first business or first coffee shop that's going to get some cash. So stay tuned. More details coming soon. Okay, so next up is our tech tip, and it's all about, it's not all about, but Instagram is what's in the news right now, and it's scaring a lot of small business owners as to how that algorithm is changing up the power of likes and saves and everything else. They're always changing things, and we really don't know why, but you need to know what's going on with that, how it's going to impact you. So I have a great article by later.com below this video. You'll be able to find the link to that. It will tell you how stories, how posts, how IGTV, how reels are impacted by the algorithm. So check that out. But I have 3 tips for you. The first is to treat your fans like royalty, all your followers. So I'll give you an example. Let me pose a question. If you have 1,000 followers that don't interact, don't like, don't comment, don't purchase, don't do anything, would you rather have those 1,000 or would you rather have 450 just rabid fans that eat up anything that you put out there to the world? And say out of that 450 on a typical post, you have 20 or 30 that watch the video or that like it and they take action. They make maybe that out of those 50, maybe 10 of them actually go to your e-commerce store and start to peruse what you're telling them about that you just launched. I would probably opt for the 450 count of followers. So treat them like royalty. So if maybe you get 1 new follower a day, DM them. Thank them for taking the time. Do a customized, personalized note to them. That will mean the world to them. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is all about looking at the analytics. Look at the insights that most of the platforms have, and you're more than likely going to have a wow moment of like, oh my gosh, I should probably do more of that type of post, because on that day, that content that got those views translated to my Shopify site, getting that bump in traffic and increase in sales. So really look at the numbers. You're probably going to have some great insight into what you should probably be doing more of. Tip number 3, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So if you're relying solely on Facebook, solely on Instagram to drive traffic, foot traffic, e-commerce traffic, don't do it. What happens if your Instagram account gets hacked? That all of a sudden shuts off any organic traffic. It shuts off any paid traffic. So definitely my advice is to have a good mix of old school and new school marketing tactics. Diversify your marketing portfolio, much like your investment portfolio. Okay, our next segment is our hot headlines to keep you in the know. And I got 3 of them today. First up is from the Santa Cruz Sentinel. And it's basically, if you think you have it bad with opening and closing your business, they did a story on Willie Case. He's the owner of the Capitola Wharf House. He's at the end of the wharf, the pier that's in Capitola Village. And he's had to, just out of being where he is, get used to being shut down constantly, on and off, big waves. basically you have to evacuate. You have to get off of the pier. Pipelines, all sorts of different things are impacting him. So it's a great article on how the mindset that he's had to take on to really adapt to his atmosphere, which is very relative to what most business owners have had to get used to during this pandemic. So a great article by the Sentinel. Next up is just the news from the Monterey Herald that not only in Monterey, but other parts of the greater Bay Area, live music is being welcomed back into restaurants and other locations, kind of in smaller venues, not venues, but restaurants and businesses. So with that, I would give you the quick tip of really leveraging the following that artist has. You brought them in for a reason, but take the extra maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes to use canva.com to create a graphic that you can supply to that artist to put on their Instagram stories, put in their email newsletter, whatever, wherever they market themselves. Be sure you help them out in promoting their next gig with you. So a little quick tip. So third up is actually from SanFranciscoEater.com. And it's the news that Guy Fieri is opening, I think he's opening up Flavortown kitchens in 23 locations across America. And basically he has ghost kitchens that are popping up. And you're going to see more and more of that. The pandemic really has made ghost kitchens very, very popular. Essentially, they're kitchens where there are multiple businesses cooking food. It's like a co-op type of kitchen scenario. And the public is not coming into these locations. It's simply that's where they're making the food, and delivery services are picking up the food and then delivering it. So a very interesting article. Trends are constantly changing, but more than likely this one is going to stay. And you're going to see them popping up in major hubs like San Jose, Santa Clara, San Francisco, etc. So check out the article below. All three articles, I have links below to them. So definitely check them out. Thank you to all the publications, the Herald, the Sentinel, and SF Eater for doing such great work when it comes to reporting on the trends that are out there. Okay, in terms of marketing strategy, I got a quick tip for you. So if you've invested what on average is probably 10 to 30K for your parklet, or maybe you have an outdoor dining experience, or you just have a kind of a real attention to detail type of takeout setup that you've developed over the last few months or 10 months, then tell the world. I'll give you an example. We recently went to San Francisco just for the day, and I wanted to have some wow factor outdoor dining. So I looked up on Google just San Francisco best outdoor dining restaurants. And basically it populated probably 10 of them. And so if you've gone to the lengths and expense to create something that has wow factor that really makes you stand out and differentiate from your competition, make sure that you document that. You take pictures, you have a great description, people know what to expect, but be sure that that exists on all the different platforms and profiles that are out there. Take the extra 2 hours maybe that it takes to log into all those different places. One easy way, another quick tip I'll throw in is yext.com, yext.com. It's a way to essentially update, I think there's about 60 semi-prominent profiles where you have information about your business. Definitely use that. That's one place and it updates all of them. So quick tip, update your profiles with what you're up to. I know it takes a little bit of extra time, but for those that are using Google and other ways of finding you, Nextdoor, etc., they are curious about what your setup is like. All right, in our last segment, it's the webinar watch segment. We have 4 of them coming up in the next week or so that you need to log on and register for. First up is YouTube for beginners. YouTube has so many possibilities, being that Google owns it and it's the second most popular search engine out there. You can use YouTube. There's all sorts of advantages to using it, but take this, sign up. It's with my good friend Karen Kiefalver. She's putting it on. So definitely, and below this video are the links to all these webinars. So that's number one. Number two is cybersecurity for small businesses. That is on February 23rd. And if I didn't mention, the YouTube was on the 18th of February. So on the 23rd, there's cybersecurity for small businesses. As I mentioned earlier in the show, if you're relying on e-commerce, if you're relying on social media platforms to drive your business, cybersecurity needs to be something that you're semi-knowledgeable about. If you don't have an IT person that keeps up with the latest and greatest on this subject, just imagine if your Instagram account gets hacked. That all of a sudden, cold turkey turns off your organic as well as your paid traffic to your e-commerce site. So sign up for that. Link below the video. Third is tax prep for small businesses. This past year has thrown in all sorts of extra elements that your tax preparer or yourself, if you're doing it yourself, need to be aware of. So this course, this webinar is meant to kind of help you navigate that. Whether it's PPP and EIDL or factored in, there's some new elements you need to basically insert into the equation. So that is on the 23rd. The last one, the fourth webinar I think you should be aware of and sign up for is on the 25th of February. And this is a big one. This is Lease Renegotiation 101. This is going to walk you through all the scenarios, what to know, what to research, what the due diligence you need to do before you go into that conversation and that process with your landlord. So those are the 4 webinars you need to have on your radar. Hopefully they're helpful. I think they will be. Go sign up. Okay, thank you for watching, you guys. Super appreciate it. Thank you for watching this episode of Small Business by the Bay. I want to thank our presenting sponsor, your local Small Business Development Center. Ours is here in Santa Cruz at santacruzsbdc.org. If you're in Monterey County, just go to calcoastalsbdc.com to find yours. And if you're anywhere throughout Northern California, just go to asksbdc.com and you'll find one near you. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned. We have another episode coming up next week. We release them every Tuesday evening. So get ready. Lots more resources coming your way. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.